It's always a message involved.
When we do our albums, Guru always likes to make a list of the titles of the songs, and we stick it on the wall until we complete each song title by me making the track match this title. We just go in and say, today, I'm gonna work on this one. It's just, it's almost like pulling out the raffle ticket and hoping your number gets called. That's just what it is. Reaching the bucket, whatever you pull out, that's the one you're gonna do. When it comes to singles, I pretty much know how to always make them all the time. It's not a coggy thing. That's just how much we understand what works for us. It may not work for somebody else, but we know how to pick singles. It was just a thing we always did. I think it's a fan thing. Like, man, if we get a chance to come out with a record together and people are feeling us, these are the ones we should drop. And part of it is my DJ ear and sense. And then Guru always was good at picking, and he is good at picking the proper record to agree on. So Know My Steez, we just felt like it was the first jump off to set the whole Moment of Truth album off. Obviously Militia was a single, Royalty with Casey and JoJo was singles, but we already know what order we want them to go. And back then our label would let us do it that way. They weren't like, well, we think you should go with this one. They could tell we knew what we were doing, and we never had a problem ever until our seventh album. Every album, we always went to the label with the whole thing mapped out, and they would buy into it, and it would always do good. Every album would outsell the next one. Boom, 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 boom. And, obviously Moment of Truth became our first gold, which we always wanted to at least get one. If we got one and never got it again, we were good. And we got two, so I always wanted to use that break from Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 because it's a live recording of them at one of their gigs where Grandmaster Flash has this beatbox, and you can't program it. You have to manually do it. So that's what he's playing live on the recording that we have. Showbiz is the only person I ever heard use that on a skit on Runaway Slaves. So when I heard him do the skit, I was like, man, the way you hooked that up for that skit it was actually right before the Big L record on that same album. So from there, as producers and DJs, it's not a bite if you take the same drums or whatever and then freak it a different way, because that's part of the respect that we have for each other, especially when you're a dope producer like Showbiz. So it's a mutual thing. I might tell him, yo, man, there's a record that you did with such and such drums. I sure wish I could get that. And he'll be like, yo, here, take the original and flip it. That happened with J. Rue the Damager, Can't Stop the Prophet. He did it for Catch and Wreck. I like the way he programmed it. He gives it to me, same record, which I never had that record, and he gave me the original, and I did Can't Stop the Prophet. Two different ways that we programmed it without being nothing similar to how we utilize the same sound. So when Know My Steez, that was my interpretation of taking that same drum sound that Flash played on the beatbox and put my spin on it, combining the right sample to match that drum pattern, which I had already had programmed before the music came in. Guru, he likes to be counted in when it's time to spit the verse. So he's always, just let me know when to come in and do the 1, 2, 3, 4. I couldn't make it there for the vocal day, and he knows if I'm not there, I do not want to record it that day. Let's cut it another day. He's like, nah, I got it. I think I know the spot. And I'm like, okay, just remember, you got to come in on this part. It's like the one. And when I got back I had to go down south for the holiday. I come back the day to listen to it. This is before internet and just MP3. And this is, either I FedEx you a CD or a cassette, or wait till I get back in town to hear it. Boom. He didn't come in on the one. He came in on. But it was a suspicious character stress, so he actually still had 2 more bars before he was supposed to come in. But the way he came in is the right way. After hearing it, I'm like, you know what? I have no argument there. I'll shut up on that one.